All right, we're taking a walk into the grapevine where we get to talk about everything entertainment and all within that space. You're tuned in to Smooth 98.1 Love Music, Love Life. It's 18 minutes past 8 a.m. It's a Thursday morning, 10th day of July, 2025. And just like that, we're in the 10th day of the month. Feels like 2 minutes ago talking about, oh, it's a brand new month and so on and so forth. Where does the time actually go? I don't know, but hey, seize the day every single time, make the best of it. My name is Ayokunmi. Great to have you join us once again. It's going to be three big men in the studio walking you through all the entertainment gist and so much more. It's going to be, it's the Thursday morning. Oris is in the building as well as James Silas. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Oris.
Hi, Ayo. Hi, James. And good morning, Lagos.
Oris sounds like you want to go back to bed. Do you need breakfast? What's happening,
No,
Oris?
Thanks for my way again. Thank you so much.
I think I'm going to play Heartbreak Hotel for Oris this morning because
I don't know where this concept of the always Africans arrived that arisen from.
well, in fact, somebody would ask the question, Oris, are you fine? On WhatsApp, still. And he says James is unusual. That was a network thing. James gave the energy. That was a network thing. And you can hear his voice clearly right now. Don't worry. All is okay. All is well in the studio. In the studio. Thank you for joining us. The WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 You can also join us on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, let's jump into the nitty-gritty of the matter. We're talking music to start with. I saw this particular article and I said, okay. Now, in a recent interview on the Afropolitan podcast, the co-managing partner of entertainment company The Plug and Davido's manager, that's Asika, shared that Afrobeats could be bigger than it currently is if all of Wizkid, Davido, and Burna Boy were to collaborate. He was making the claim where he emphasized that the mistake this generation of superstars has made is not collaborating enough to scale Afrobeats as a bigger culture. It's interesting in all these talks about Afrobeats and so on. Amare spoke recently that Afrobeats isn't hitting as it used to, and different people have said different things about Afrobeat has plateaued and so on and so forth. Now, Sasika is talking about a collaboration between all the three. Number one, do you think that's even doable, bearing in mind the climate where all the three are concerned, your 30 BGs, your FCs, and so on and so forth? And will that even do a whole lot, as he claims, for the Afrobeat um, genre, as it were, in Nigeria?
James, I feel like I want to hear James's take.
Okay, so with some of these things, time can be a factor. I don't know if right now, if Wizkid, Burna Boy, and Davido, if they get into the studio to make a record right now, as in this right now, I don't know if how it even sound if we can guarantee a hit record. I mean, the hype will be heavy everywhere. Everybody will want to listen. They want to know, even if it's just Burna Boy and Davido, not stock of three of them, but we want to hear how it turned out in terms of collaboration. But I feel like the collaboration would have been long overdue. I don't know how it's now be now. Before now, when it comes to the bigger artists in the industry, it was collaborations were just natural. It was easy. In fact, it was coming back to back. It wasn't even an issue. But what we've come to realize with the explosion of Afrobeats around the globe right now is that it came with heavy competition. Everybody wanted individual reign as far as the conversation was concerned. And so, yes, the collaboration should have happened way back. Should have happened even from the earlier time. They would have been all the first, and if you watch Davido's first album, first single, not the first single, let me say the Omo Obi or Omo Babalowo, that particular record. The Wizkid was in the video too. Do you understand? So and
You mean that
from
Damiduro? Which song?
yes, Damiduro, thank you, Damiduro.
No, Burna Boy wasn't in the video, not Wizkid.
So what do you say?
It was Burna Boy that was in the video, not Wizkid.
Wizkid was in the video. Watch
Of
it again.
Davido.
Yeah, Wizkid was in the video. So if you look at that kind of situation, you would
Okay.
assume that even since
Yeah,
that
well,
time, they could have
It's
done a
right.
song together. They would have had a song together. Do you understand? And it just goes on and on like that till Davido had his first album, had his second album. Wizkid has done a couple of albums. Same for Burna Boy and the. I mean, we can understand. Yes, Burna Boy and Wizkid has done a record together, but we can also say confidently that you cannot count if we are counting hits records in Nigeria in the whole Afrobeat story today. I don't know if I'll add Ballon d'Or. Me, I don't. I will not. I don't think any of the collaborations that they've done together would pass for a hit record. But yes, statements, of course, something that people will get to or they listen to. Maybe numbers, they did numbers and all of that. And of course, they've done. They've premiered. What's the word? They've cameoed on each other's at each other's concerts, one time or the other abroad. But collaboration now in this situation for me in my head is not just about making a record together. It's actually showing a united front, coming together and say, okay, take pictures together, take hangouts together and, have them laughing, truly, truly being cordial with each other, physically for people to see. Sometimes it might not even be for them to come together to make a record because if the energy is not right or if even the atmosphere is not right to record a song together, maybe that can be understandable or we can even look away a bit. But it's supposed to be have happened earlier, like I said. And I think that they need in terms of collaboration, like I see here, can even be putting up a front of unity of them hanging out together somewhere, hanging out together at the club, hanging out together at somebody's house, those kind of things can actually pass and give everybody that sense of, oh, we are all one in this thing. And even
right.
bringing each other on stage at international concerts or tours or whatever, that also is a level of collaboration. I mean,
Okay.
besides
Oh,
coming together to make a record. So I think that yes, collaboration, even in all fronts, regardless of whether the artists or with record labels, with different aspects of business of entertainment is always a good thing.
I think
How about you?
I think there are just two aspects in which what's the word now? A collaboration would work out well to make the genre bigger, to quote Issa. I don't think that it's a song per se. I don't think the song will do the magic.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like Wizkid releases a record, Davido posts it on his social media
Correct.
handles, the same thing from Burna. I think that's the thing that would probably make the genre bigger. But I think there's a bigger picture. I think I've always commented on, maybe even on air, maybe last year or so, but I've had this thought for a while that it's a little late. James has just pointed out about how even if they brought the three of them to the studio right now, we are not certain that it's going to be a big hit coming from them, which is certainly 300,000% correct, by the way. But even beyond that, I was thinking more. I've been thinking about this for a while. That if at the early stages of their career, maybe not early, maybe like mid stages, in fact, having them collaborate around the time of Damiduro, that was Davido's first
Yeah.
big single, I guess, maybe after the one with Need to See. I don't think that would have done anything massive if they collaborated around the time, around maybe 2 or 3 years after Ojuelegba.
Maybe when they were in like their prime.
Just after Ojuelegba,
Yeah.
actually, that's for me, 2016, 2017, that would have been a great period for them to have done like a song that probably would have gone somewhere. But beyond that, actually, what I think is more important, which is no longer possible, by the way, is if they could come together as a unit, in fact, as a business unit to be more specific, it probably would have made sense and build the infrastructure that would take care of Afrobeats over the next 10 years. What would this have looked like? This would have looked like Tidal, Jay-Z.
Okay.
One of the things Jay-Z tried to do was, of course, I don't think it kind of worked out. And, there's the Nicki Minaj issue with that anyway. We'll get to that. But the point is that I suspect that there was a period in which a music streaming service specifically catering to Afrobeats was possible. It is no longer possible, of course. It's not. Nobody can compete with the big boys, Spotify, or even the other guys. These, any of them, any of the Western platforms, you can no longer compete with. But if, say, for instance, I know there's been maybe 2 or 3 Nigerian platforms.
Yeah.
Even before now, one of the telcos had something that they kind of laid off after a while. But in any case, if at that period of time, if in that between that 2014 to 2018 period, there was a platform that these guys said, you know what, we are going to put out our first songs, or rather, for the first few weeks of the release of our music, they would only be available exclusively on this platform.
Right.
You understand? Kind of like what Taylor
right.
Swift did to like pressure, was it Spotify or Apple Music a few years ago? For the first few weeks, this is only where you can listen to these songs. I think it would have done a lot to build up the basic infrastructure digitally of Afrobeats. Unfortunately, it's 10 years, 20 years, I don't know, 5 years, 2 years, whatever years, too late to even try anything of that manner. So I hear Asa, but I feel like Asa is late in saying this. This should have been something that could have happened earlier. And if these guys had built up like the basic digital infrastructure for Afrobeats, it would mean that a lot more of the revenue that the genre produces is not going to some random company in Europe, which is what Spotify is, or to America, which is what Apple is, or to France, which is, I think, what Deezer is. You understand? It would have been coming down to Nigeria or to Africa. Yes, even the one, there's a decent success story apparently in, I think, in Eastern Africa called Mdundo. You know, that one is actually run by, it's founded by a Norwegian entrepreneur. So it means that every single platform you can think of that brings in some kind of revenue to the African music market is run by a Westerner. That's a terrible, I mean, for me at least, that's a terrible thing.
What are we doing here?
Exactly, you know, and I feel like these guys, there was a period in which they could have been the ones to build up whatever that thing was going to be. Unfortunately, the amount of income, the amount of investment available to those big players, and just the amount of money that they potentially make from putting their music on Spotify means that they would never ever consider something like this. But there was a window in my head, it's like a 2-year window in which they could have built this thing and it would have made sense. Unfortunately, it's no longer the case. And that is in terms of the business and infrastructure, by the way. In terms of the music, I do not believe, as James has pointed out, that you can be certain that it's going to be a hit record from these 3 people collaborating. I don't even think individually, to be honest, they can assure us of a hit. Burna Boy's record is going to come out. Is it either is out or is it going to come out in a few days?
Friday, tomorrow, actually.
Exactly. You know, I do not believe that everybody's looking, oh, that's going to be like on the level of maybe African Giant or Twice as Tall. I don't think anybody's really thinking that, oh, this is going to be another triumphant release from Burna Boy.
Is there some trepidation there?
I don't know if the word is trepidation. I just think it's kind of the reality we are in now. When Rema was talking about there being a big 4, I think it was really just being a bit modest. It might be big. Our traditional big 3, honestly, haven't produced a big jam since Burna Boy's Last Laughs or Wizkid's Essence. That is the fact of the matter. You know, and they've all had like records after that. Nobody has produced anything global. If you're thinking about maybe the last 5 or 6 years, the big songs, you're thinking of Rema, you're thinking of what's his name? Kiss Daniel for Buga. You're thinking of Ashake. And not actually the big 3, to be honest. Exactly, you know. So what they have is like a huge fan base. That means that they can never lose. But you cannot be certain right now that individually these guys can produce the hit-making goods. And you can't be certain either that putting the 3 of them in a studio will do that as well. And at the same time, it's no longer possible for them to organize the infrastructure necessary for Afrobeats to make to maximize its revenue. So in a sense, we are looking at the transition from the big 3 into maybe, I don't know if there's another big 3, but actually, more specifically, I think what Amare said is true. This is kind of like the decline phase of Afrobeats. So we might need a new sound and maybe a new group of people to come and like bring us back to where we were over the past maybe 4 or 5 years. But right now, I think it's a decline. And I don't believe that a collaboration, business-wise or music-wise, is going to do anything great for Afrobeats.
You know, the Premier League for a long time was the top 4, then became the top 6 and all that. Maybe that's something to happen, you know, talking about the big 3, but beyond the big 3, they haven't really done the magic in the last couple of years. So the window is open for new players to come in and do the business, as it were. Let's take a break right now. When we come back in, we'll continue the conversations right here on the Grapevine. This is Smooth 98.1. Don't go anywhere. Right here.
Ayo,
yeah,
you need to speak to your mic when see, like right now I can hear you clearly. I heard Oris clearly, but when you were talking, you know, just now, but I didn't hear you clear.
That's weird because I was closer to the mic when I was speaking. than right now.
Yeah, but that might be a James thing. I think because it was different from my so maybe it's it might be
It's a sound, yeah. Because I heard, like I said, I heard Oris clearly all through. It was just now that, but I can hear you now, Ayo. So
Okay. Maybe I should just keep it like this.
yeah.
Can you hear him now? Is it good?
Is it clear
Yeah, I
right
can hear
now?
him now. Yes, now it's
Okay.
fine.
Maybe just to maintain. Don't shift your head,
His
my guy.
microphone position, yes, it's fine now.
Well, I don't want to look right. This guy, he was on WhatsApp. Sorry, he was on Zoom.
How about
He was in. Michael on WhatsApp says this collab you're talking about is like mixing Gouda, palm wine, brandy, and Zobo.
There was a time when we would have accepted that mix. I don't think the time is now.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. It just feels like I don't know if it's just me being crazy that the whole Afrobeats thing, I'm using air quotes, it's like been so saturated and like you don't choke kind of, and there doesn't seem to be anywhere to go anymore.
No, the thing needs a new sound. You remember how for a longest time you had all of those Konto music, all of those our pangolo, whatever it is they call it, pom pom sound. You get? No, what changed it? No, but I'm serious. What changed it was the influx of the Altair guys. Wizkid went to go and find them and put her on Essence. Davido started working with them or don't see. You get? Burna Boy already had his whole Oyibo vibe from the beginning.
Yes.
That is kind of what gave us the past 4 or 5 years of dominance. So we need to, then of course, when we now went to South Africa and took Amapiano briefly, that gave us another 2 years. So right now, we need another influx of something. And what is that is going to be is what nobody seems to be able to tell right now. But we need something of that nature again to happen, where they can go about and say, hey, what new sounds can we like? Because the sound is kind of like, everybody's tired in a way. Sounds, what is new? I think, it's the novelty that's the problem right now.
True.
So, but let's see, maybe Burna will do it, but I don't think he will do it. I think Burna is tired. Yeah, artistically, that I think
fingers crossed, Sha. Let's see how it sounds.
Yeah, I think he's maxed out in terms of his artistry right now. He needs to take a break.
When was his last album before this one?
I think it was 3 years ago.
That's a break.
All of these singles. It's like maybe just not hear from me. I don't know what the answer is, but something really needs to be done. And I don't think this is new record is going to crack it because he has already 4 or 3 songs over the past maybe 6 months, and none of them has kind of.
And none of them worked. None of them worked for me.
Yeah.
Either.
No, same here. It's just new sound. We need something new. They go see as usual.
All right, welcome back into the Grapevine on a Thursday morning. I was say Tuesday. God, forward ever, backward never.
Amen for you, my guy. Amen for you.
It's 36 minutes past 8 a.m. and yours truly, Ayokunmi, here alongside me are Oris and, of course, James Silas.
Yeah.
Senfaju, I hope that was loud enough for you. You hear very clearly, right? Fantastic. Anyways, keep up with us on WhatsApp and on YouTube. On WhatsApp, you can send your messages into the number 0809-444-0981. We'd love to hear from you. On YouTube, you can leave your comments at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Plant your seats in the front row. Get all the gist in the Grapevine right here. All right, Taya on WhatsApp says, an Edo man can suffer heartbreak. It's the other.
I just know Edo men don't cheat, I don't know about the heartbreak.
Says, please work about you for that, man. I will work on that, Taya. He then says, Burna Boy and Davido on the same record in 2025. Fights will happen in the studio, on the track, and social media. It's too late to consider that collaboration. At this point, there's no sign of weakness for them to collaborate. Maybe if we get a court order. Taya, you can work on that. Have some legal leanings. You could work on that.
Force them into the studio to make a record.
And that's
do it now.
Michael says, this collab you're talking about is like mixing beer, palm wine, brandy, and Zobo. Can it work?
I think there's a time it would have worked. It is just not in 2025, but there was a time it could have worked, actually. That mix would have worked.
Reminds me of those days as kids. You mix all sorts of things together and you're feeling cool with yourself. We had no idea. Okay, that's right. Let me take another one here. This is it's Oris.
They always confuse me with the
It's Oris and James. Oris doesn't sound like Yoruba.
They insist. If you see how many people say this on the Friday show, Neither do I, but they keep saying it.
Anyways, he says, or is it he or she? She, let me see. Okay, it's Toyin with the last is she. Sorry, your number isn't showing the name. Apologies. A collaboration record between any of the big five won't work. That moment has passed. If they're going to collaborate, it needs to be on lasting projects to benefit the industry, not just songs. Exactly what you said earlier. When you put two really good, huge stars on a record, I really dread it. Just like Beyonce and Shakira. Beyonce. Come on now.
But she's right. It wasn't. Yeah. Look at the next.
While it was generally successful, it wasn't that of a big moment.
True. Very true. Actually.
I think big moments with big acts, small acts makes more sense, as Davido is doing now, or big Afrobeats act and another relatively popular global act. Having said that, I would love to see Davido and Bad Bunny jump on a record together.
I agree with. True.
And put their coins together to build a world-class performance arena for big shows and deliver us from the yearly pain of
Yeah, so you see, this is what I was talking about was like digital infrastructure, which is no longer possible. But this one might actually be possible, like the physical infrastructure. But will they do it? I doubt it.
And Yoruba has said that thing so many times that we don't have like that mecca of our entertainment, our shows, and so on and so forth and so forth. Hey,
we have a hotel.
Austin says about these guys' collaboration, the title should be "Let Love Lead." Tell that to all the stands, I beg. All right, guys, we referenced Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj earlier on, and hey, let's just jump into this because big amounts of money are being referenced here. Nicki Minaj has called out her, they say, colleague and billionaire music exec Jay-Z over an alleged debt. Now, she claimed that the Rock Nation boss owes her roughly 200 million American dollars. She urged him to reach out to her and settle the debt, warning that failure to do that would only lead to accumulation of more interest. What is happening here? What is going on here, Goga? I know it has to do with title and all that, but
I think
200M?
We need to see those papers. I think a few years ago, Kanye put up his deal with one of these, UMG, one of the big three music labels, and so we could see exactly where his mind was at. So I think Nicki might need to just show us, because she's been saying it for a while. Actually, she's been on Jay-Z's neck for quite a bit, and this is just the latest salvo in her barrage on demand. But I feel like I need to see papers. Let me even see what exactly they mean, because if I remember clearly, Jay-Z owned a huge chunk of Tidal, but I don't think he sold it for anything up to $1 billion. Maybe it was I can't remember the figure he sold. He sold it for. That's his own stake, which was sold to Jack Dorsey, the former Twitter guy. So I'm now wondering if Nicki, and the other artists owned portions of equity on the business. I wonder how her cut could have been up to 200 million. It feels unreasonable, honestly, because this would mean if he sold it for $1 billion, this would mean that if it was worth $1 billion rather, this would mean that she has 20% of the business, and I doubt that very much. I doubt that she owned up to 20%, considering how many people were involved in the deal. So maybe she's overstating it. But it looks like, yes, she is convinced that Jay-Z owes her something. I don't know how much that is because I don't believe this figure. Whatever it is, I think Jay should come and settle it. But it also feels like Jay doesn't really speak about stuff like this
in public.
In public, yes, and in private, because I think she would not be spiraling like this in public if he had reached out to her and they had a kind of conversation. So I think both in private and in public, Jay is avoiding Nicki. So on that level, I'm like, you know what? Can you please have this conversation with this babe at some point so that everything can be cool? But it looks like that might be unlikely to happen. I think Jay's recent speech publicly has only been on the thing where the lady was accusing him of rape. And then, yes, the whole court, they threw that out of court anyway. So, I mean, good for everybody concerned, I guess. But on issues like this, Jay hardly ever says anything public. So I think we are in for a long time because Nicki would not stop.
James, I mean, looking at this situation, Nicki has called him out several times. Do you think there's more to this than just 200 million? Because
how can more than 200 million is not enough. What is
the money? I mean, but let's not forget that even though we just mentioned, we're saying 200 is between, according to Nicki's own submission, is between 100 and 200 million. So, but we're not sure yet. The details are not really still clear.
If it's title alone, it cannot be up to 100. But anyway, that's
exactly. So I was just looking now. I looked up. So first of all, title's valuation, according to the reports I'm getting from Forbes, is 450 million. The final sale price that they sold at the end of the conversation was 302 million. Do you understand? So when you look at those numbers, and Jay-Z had 40% equity on the company as at 2021. Do you understand? So now I don't know. We cannot say, but she's talking about interest now. Maybe if you have been owing me a certain amount.
Okay, so wait, James, James, this is easy math. So if she's claiming interest over the past, I don't know, if you're going from 2021, which is the figure you're given in 4 years, so you're telling me now that somehow, somebody who owned what I believe has to be less than 10% stake in the company has now accrued more than the value of the company. All right.
Do you understand? So
I don't know, the math is one kind.
Yeah, but when people are aggrieved or mad at some institution, they tend to just go crazy and say whatever they want to say. And I saw one other report where I can't remember the guy's name right now, but maybe a court is giving him or has given what's called permission or grant that for Jay-Z to show up for a DNA test or something. That
I saw that as well, but I don't know that I believe it. The platform isn't particularly reputable, so I can't say that.
So that's why I didn't think so. But what's her name? Nikki. I actually saw it on
Nikki. I saw that.
Yeah, Nikki shared it. So this time around, anything that has to do with trolling anybody that she's not, please, just what 50 Cent does as well. And so, but I'm hoping that they will still come to, because, and then when it comes to these matters, it's not about social media. There are just guidelines, or there are things to do, the right process, to follow, to make it come to, to the ears of the people that need to hear.
James, but you know that these are famous people, so they also want that clout. Nikki is a familiar human being too, so that's part of what's happening here.
Yes,
I doubt that she would even go the legal route, because it doesn't look very. Honestly, for me, it doesn't look solid enough. I know there was that thing that somebody associated with Jay-Z said that she had not signed the papers, actually. So I don't know if that's true, but yes, there was a guy from Jay-Z's camp who said, I think last year on one of these, or maybe earlier this year, on one of these podcasts, that Nikki actually did not sign the papers. So the question was, is it the papers of like owning the equity, or is it the papers of the sale? Did she need to sign for them to like say, hey, this is your
we don't know that.
So, but if she hadn't signed the sale one, it means that she still owns part of the company, and it's now up to her to figure out how to sell whatever parts. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not very clear. I just don't feel like the figure she's banning about is correct exactly.
Well, if someone were aiming between $100 to $200 million, number one,
$100,000, $50,000, I would
online legal routes, village people route as well. Everybody will be involved. Though.
You see my real man stuff.
Everywhere you look is me. You'll be saying, of course, why? All right, guys. Before we wrap it up, I need to talk about Dwight Howard. I don't know why I'm laughing, but his wife Amy Luciani has filed for divorce after 6 months of marriage, citing no prospects for reconciliation.
Wow, that's such finality.
Like she just closed the door, locked it, swallowed the key as well.
Bro, this game.
And
this is like
no, and it's a 6 months marriage.
6 months, yeah. And she's seeking alimony and an equal division of marital assets.
She will not get that part.
My brother.
That I don't think she will get that bit. 6 months is too short, and Dwight has been famous for 3 million years. No,
Oris, what are you talking
6
about?
Months? No, I don't think
no. Let me tell you, it will happen if they did not sign a prenup or anything.
A prenup, yes. No, but I think actually it's if they sign a prenup saying she will get exactly half. There's no reasonable judge that's going to give her half for 6 months married.
But I doubt
it's not going to happen.
But I doubt she will file for a divorce right now if there was a prenup. To me, in my opinion, it seems fishy. It seems very fishy. It smells fishy. My opinion.
She will get something, but half when she wasn't there when the money. The reason why people like Bezos and what's his name and Gates kind of had like almost equal split is because these women were there around the time when these businesses began. You have a 6 month marriage with this man, and he has been famous for God knows how long. How are you going to justify half? It's not possible. So I think she'll get a lot because he's a rich guy. But I do not believe that we are thinking about equal splits, bros. There'll be riots.
Marriage. As far as I'm concerned, though, I think once they are,
this is why you're not the judge.
Wait. Let me tell you. Remember this guy. What this Nigerian guy that married them? The other one from what's their name?
The Simon one.
Is this Simon? What's this Nigerian the guy that married the American?
Is it Reality TV one or which one is this one?
Yes, now
I know what you're talking about.
Portia.
Portia,
yeah.
No, but it's not half now. It's not half. They didn't say half, did they?
Bro, she got the house. She got the house.
She did not get half of the split. She's getting like I think 40K or something per month or so. For the period of the that actually makes sense. Actually, you're saying this because I think she's supposed to get $40,000 every month for the duration of the marriage. No, for the duration of the marriage.
Yeah, yes.
So if they were married for 18 months or 36 months, you get for each of those months. But it's not forever. It's not like splitting in half or anything. So I'm saying that a lot of money is going to be dispensed, definitely. But half is not. I don't think that's possible.
There's another reference. What's his name? This guy that owned this guy's former label, Lil Wayne's former label. What's his name again?
Not
anyway, that split. Say that again.
Not Baby.
This Baby.
Not Bedman.
Not Bedman. Bedman. What's it called? The one that was it? It's not Tony Braxton. Tony Braxton's ex-husband.
Are they ex? Have they even married?
It's Tony Braxton's.
I'm not even sure at this point.
Anyway,
it's hard to keep up with these people.
I'm trying to reference there's one interview that is also popular that Fat Joe was talking about, making reference about somebody who they dated for a bit and then they just married and then not so long later, boom, the wife filed for divorce. And I mean, she got so much that it was going to.
Like I said, James, they will get so much, but not half now. Not for a 6-month marriage. It's not. That's
anyway,
not going to happen.
We have to keep our fingers crossed to see how it plays out later. But if there's no amount that's going to take that would hurt the guy regardless.
No, of course, everybody will be. Even if I give the lady 2K, I'm going to be unhappy. But half is pushing it for a 6-month marriage.
All I'll say is things are happening. Let me take Ayonfeda's message. Wizkid and Burna Boy, yes, they have already collaborated before, Seth. But adding Davido in the mix, problem go deal. Why are you referencing Davido as that catalyst that would scatter things?
Because he's the one who seems to have an issue. At least the two of them seem to have an issue with Davido. So he's the one who doesn't have an alliance in the big three, unfortunately.
All right. IFS says 6-month marriage. Women. Look at it all caps as well. Tayo says, Jay-Z be like, I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Tayo.
He's putting it wrongly. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
But, idea is what is needed here. Nicki Minaj on cash outs. Celebrity needs to stay guided in this 2025. This is giving that Facebook ownership movie. That was Social Network. Yes, I will go through the grapevine. I will be there. Tayo, what did I do to you? Dwight Howard is about to go through the hoops. 6 months marriage and she wants to collect half. Like Kanye said, sign that prenup, but he didn't follow his house. In Portia's case, the house is still temporary. She can buy the ex out.
Exactly, yeah. Yes, you heard that, I think this is the correct bit.
All right. Thank you for that clarification there, Tyon. Thank you all for all the messages. We've gone a bit above time, but hey, it's a great ride. We're having a good time. Thank you so much to you, Oris, and of course, you, James Silas, for coming through as you always do, bringing all the fire and energy. Much appreciated.
All right. Well, as usual, it's catch Oris on the great platform called X or Twitter, and it's Film Efiko Africa on Instagram, actually.
All right, James.
Yeah, James Silas is James Silas on social media, all social media platforms. If you search for James Silas, you'll find me. And if you let me know you're from the grapevine, I'll holler back.
I don't know why they've not taken James Silas's account down. They've taken my own down. Wow.
No worries. The friends I know are different from the ones you know.
So Zuckerberg is your guy, Abi.
We'll talk about that.
Stay there now.
We'll talk about that behind the scenes. We gotta go. All right, Lagos, keep it to Smooth Breakfast right here on Smooth 98.1.
Yeah.